In 1999, South Korea's economy was already on its knees, battered by the Asian financial crisis. But the worst shock wasn't coming from abroad. It was hiding inside one of their own, a company so big, so deeply woven into the country's identity, that almost no one dared to question it. Daewoo, once the second largest conglomerate in South Korea, over 400,000 employees, businesses in cars, ships, construction, electronics, and somewhere inside that machine, $70 billion in hidden debt. Daewoo wasn't just a company. It was a national project. Founded in 1967 by Kim Woo-chung, it grew with government backing into a chaebol, Korea's version of a family-controlled mega conglomerate. By the 1990s, Daewoo had its hands in nearly every sector of the economy. Kim Woo-chung was celebrated as a national hero. He wrote best-selling books about hard work. He lectured at Harvard. He met presidents. And the entire time, he was running what investigators would later call the largest accounting fraud in corporate history, bigger than Enron. So how does a company actually hide $70 billion? Not in a drawer, not in a foreign account. It takes a system, a deliberate, multi-layered machine, built over years, with banks, auditors, and regulators all playing their part. It started with the books. Daewoo had dozens of subsidiaries, affiliates scattered across the world. When one subsidiary racked up debt, it would be quietly shifted to another entity. That entity might sit in a country with weaker reporting requirements. The debt didn't disappear. It just moved somewhere nobody was looking. Korean accounting rules at the time didn't require full consolidated reporting. That meant Daewoo could keep toxic liabilities buried in overseas shells, off the Korean balance sheet entirely. The parent company looked healthy. The rot was hidden in the branches. Then came the banks. Korean state-linked banks had been pressured for decades to lend to the chaebols. It was how the Korean development model worked. So when Daewoo needed cash to cover losses, the banks lent. And when those loans went bad, the banks didn't write them down, because writing them down meant admitting the problem existed. The auditors signed off. The rating agencies gave passing grades. And the government, which had a deep political interest in Daewoo surviving, looked away. This wasn't incompetence. It was a system of mutual protection. Everyone had something to lose if the truth came out. The 1997 Asian financial crisis cracked the shell. The IMF bailout forced Korea to start looking honestly at its financial system. And when investigators actually opened Daewoo's books, really opened them, what they found was staggering. The company had been insolvent for years. The real debt was nearly double what had been reported. In August 1999, Daewoo collapsed. It was the largest corporate bankruptcy in South Korean history, and at the time, one of the largest in the world. The fallout hit Korean banks, pension funds, small investors, and suppliers who had no idea they were owed money by a company that didn't actually have any. Ordinary Koreans bore the cost. Thousands of jobs evaporated overnight. Pension funds that had invested in Daewoo bonds were wiped out. Small businesses that depended on Daewoo contracts went under. The fraud didn't just destroy a company. It transferred the losses onto everyone who had trusted the system. Kim Woo-chung fled the country before the collapse became public. He lived as a fugitive for 6 years in Vietnam, in Europe, in Africa, before finally returning to Korea in 2005. He was convicted of fraud and embezzlement, sentenced to 10 years, pardoned in 2008. Citing his contribution to the Korean economy, the auditors, including a major international firm, were fined. The bankers who kept the credit flowing faced minimal consequences. The government officials who looked away returned to their careers. The people who built the machine paid far less than the people who simply trusted it. Korea did reform deeply. Chaebol accounting rules were tightened. Consolidated reporting became mandatory. The IMF crisis forced a reckoning that Daewoo helped accelerate. But here's what never gets asked. In how many other countries, right now, is a similar system still running? Different company, different name, same machinery. Daewoo's lesson isn't just about one fraudulent CEO. It's about what happens when an entire ecosystem, banks, auditors, Regulators, governments, decides that asking hard questions is more dangerous than ignoring the answers. The company was too big to question. Until the day it simply ceased to exist. If you want to understand how that same dynamic played out inside a single financial instrument, how one product almost took down the global economy, the next video is going to hit differently. Subscribe. You don't want to miss it.